बहुत सिंपल क्वेश्चन है, इंटरनेट होता क्या है? मतलब इंटरनेट कहाँ से आता है, कहाँ बनता है, क्या होती क्या ये चीज़? हमें तो सिर्फ ये पता है कि एक वायर है, वो कहीं से कनेक्ट होती है और फिर सबका कनेक्ट हो जाता है, दुनिया कनेक्ट। लाइक व्हाट इज द बर्थ प्लेस ऑफ इंटरनेट? कहाँ से आया है, होता क्या है? एंड देन हम लोग उसके ऊपर जाएंगे कि थ्रेट क्या होता है।
सो सबसे पहली बात, इंटरनेट has been around for more than half a century, right? इंटरनेट हमेशा हुआ क्या करता था कि आपके पास जब माइक्रो प्रोसेसर्स हुए करते थे जो कि कुछ पर्टिकुलर काम कर सकते थे, एंड दिस इज बिफोर पर्सनल कंप्यूटर्स, वो जो जिसे आप अर्ली स्टेज कंप्यूटर्स के बारे में आप बोल सकते हो, उन्हें एक दूसरे से बात करने के लिए जो प्रोटोकॉल चाहिए था, वहां पे इंटरनेट का जन्म हुआ in a very very simple word. And in fact this was originally used by, it used to be called ARPANET, which is the place where this whole thing was born, which was in the US Army, kyunki there were servers which were doing some very complex processing of stuff which were in different parts of the country, and in order to connect them and put certain things together, that is where there was a requirement, kyunki dono jagah data was being stored in the form of bits and bytes. उसे खाली ट्रांसफर करना था from one side to the other, and उसके कारण that is where the internet was born, which is originally called ARPANET, right? Now fast forward that, internet really became internet when the first browser, which was Netscape, was launched. क्योंकि उसके पहले जो प्रॉब्लम होती थी वो ये थी, इनफैक्ट इसके भी अगर मैं थोड़ा सा पहले जाऊं, इंटरनेट वाज अ लग्जरी, और इंटरनेट बन ही नहीं सकता था पॉपुलर जब तक पर्सनल कंप्यूटर्स पॉपुलर नहीं बने. क्योंकि इट्स ऑलमोस्ट लाइक दिस, राइट? उबर तब तक नहीं पॉपुलर बन सकता था जब तक हर फोन पे जीपीएस नहीं आ जाए, राइट? सो दैट्स अ प्री रिक्विजिट व्हिच वाज आउट देयर. सो इवन बिफोर द इंटरनेट, अगर हम पर्सनल कंप्यूटर्स की हिस्ट्री देखते हैं, it was really in the 1970s and the 1980s. Remember, late 1970s is where the Apple I came into the picture. Apple II was early 1980s. 1984, the big launch of the Macintosh which happened, which for the first time ever had the graphical user interface. क्योंकि Macintosh के पहले all of personal computers, पता है कैसे होते थे? ब्लैक स्क्रीन, जो हमें डॉस पता है आपको, या मैक पे जो टर्मिनल होता है, दिस इज ऑल दैट कंप्यूटर्स यूज्ड टू बी. नाउ व्हाई वाज मैकिन्टॉश दैट टर्निंग मोमेंट फॉर द होल वर्ल्ड? बिकॉज इट ट्रूली कुड बिकम पर्सनल. आप ऐसे सोच के देखो, आप या आप अपने मदर या फादर को, क्या आप कभी भी सोच सकते हो 10-20 कमांड सिखाओगे डॉस पे जिससे कि वो एक दूसरे से बात करेंगे, चीज़ें देखेंगे? इट वॉज नेवर द केस. द मोमेंट इट वॉज सिंप्लीफाइड इनटू अ ग्राफिकल यूजर इंटरफेस, which by the way was not made by Apple. It was actually taken from Xerox, and Xerox Research Park had come up with this concept of a mouse, and using a mouse you could basically click on a particular screen which was out there. So that was the first time ever that somebody had come out with that. And the Xerox Research Park, because Xerox उस time बहुत बड़ी company हुआ करती थी, Apple was a small company. The Xerox Research Park took this to the management of Xerox, the leadership of Xerox, to say this can be the future of personal computer, and people laughed at that. They said, are you mad? Xerox is such a big company. Do you think it'll ever launch a product where something is called a mouse? Ha, you're idiots. Go away from here, right? Literally, this was the case, right? And today, look at Xerox and look at Apple, right? When Steve Jobs saw that, the moment he saw it, he knew this was it. This was the next big leap that he could take from Apple II to Macintosh. And why is that important? Because uske karan graphical user interface became very, very popular. Because after Macintosh, Windows copied it, and then it went to the IBM PC, and then, basically graphical interface became very, very popular. After that is where the graphical user interface of the internet. So going back to what you were talking about, internet used to be super technical. Now, people could actually see and feel the internet thanks to the browser. क्योंकि now they don't have to type complex queries to connect to systems. All they had to do was go to a particular protocol at that time, say an HTTP simple protocol, to say इस particular computer पे जाओ, which later on became a website name. शुरू में IP addresses होते थे, but the human brain can't remember enough numbers. So there was the whole concept which then came about on how do you convert those IP addresses to names, because people can remember names, yahoo.com, apple.com, google.com, that we remember very, very easily. So that is what basically came into the picture with something called a DNS service, which is domain name service, where it's like a yellow pages directory, which basically has IP addresses and websites. That coupled with the website, which you could see on a browser, which was a Netscape browser, that is where internet truly became a democratic movement, because now you can host pages and give information that you wanted. At that time, there was no e-commerce, there was no logging in, and there was no users, there was no inbox. That came later. Inbox tha, ek dusre type ka inbox tha, but not through the graphical user interface that you would talk about. And because of that, it became popular, it became easy. And therefore, जैसे आपने शुरू किया था ना, आपने बोला Saket, I want to dumb it down and make it easy. It's actually the most difficult thing to do for anything. And I would argue that anything which has truly changed the world only happened when it became super easy. Look at the personal computer with graphical user interface. Look at the internet with the browser. Look at more recently ChatGPT. So AI became AI because it became simple for anybody to be able to use it.
थैंक यू सो मच ये क्लिप एंड तक देखने के लिए. अगर आपको और भी ऐसी क्लिप्स देखनी है तो राज शमानी क्लिप्स चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिए.